I wanted to take this public opportunity to thank Zaki Lisha for 39 wonderful years. On behalf of the faculty and staff of the film department and all the thousands of students that you have inspired to be great filmmakers in the last 39 years, we want to congratulate you on your retirement. And we wish you the very best.
I had already, as a kid, I mean, I grew up wanting to direct, and I was making movies in my backyard and that kind of thing. So I had done the video stuff. I had done 8mm, had experience with all that. So I realized going into film school that they had you, a lot of the classes, a lot of the colleges have you go through all of these different courses. Like you go through video first, then you go to the 8mm, or however they arrange it. And I had done that. I just wanted to get into a place where I could check out equipment right away and just get a camera, get film, and start going. And I couldn't do that in a lot of the other colleges. So Anza happened to be the one that I found that from day one, I could just go to the department, check out a camera, and start playing around.
I have sent from you, my only son. Well, how to find them? Except you. Who are you?
I keep feeling something terrible is about to happen.
I would never let anything happen to you.
It's about to get very cold in here.
I need you to read my mind.
Usually, when there is a crime, there is a motive.
I want to know why. 27 men died on that pier for what looks to be $91 million worth of dope that wasn't there.
Usually, when there is a lineup, there's only one real suspect.
This whole thing was a shakedown. And there's no way they'd line 5 felons in the same room.
But this is not the usual crime. This is not the usual motive.
He was in the harbor killing many men.
He saw Kaiser Soze.
And these are not the usual suspects.
That show was just genius.
Superb!
I'm with Zaki Lisha, about to retire from 39 years of very involved service at Anza College, and I have the opportunity to ask him a number of questions about what he's done for 39 years.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Thanks for being here. Did you expect to build, I mean, I made a joke the other day that the phrase, if you build it, he will come, they will come, kind of related to the way that you built the Anza Film Department. Did you expect it all to grow along with your stature and post?
There is a kind of an intuitive feeling that you're doing something that is very much unique, and you're doing something that at the moment, like during the 70s, movies were, I think, the ultimate art. Especially because there was this American renaissance of directors. Like you had, Scorsese, you got Coppola, you got Spielberg. All these people were just making some incredible movies. And so everybody wanted to have that kind of, I think, just participation in this. And to have the ability and given the opportunity to be able to do something like that, I knew that, it's like, especially when you're starting from the ground up, you have all these opportunities to do it the way you'd like to. And based on where I went to school, both USC and ASF State, I wanted to do something that actually improved on what it is that I got from those two schools. So in a lot of ways, I looked for ways to actually somewhat really actually get the experience so that the students can get it at a level that they can really get engaged and find, I think, that sublime pleasure of producing.
So, but usually departments have all of these funds to throw at a situation like that, and at a talent that's coming in saying that they can figure out how to cultivate that kind of involvement at a school, but you didn't have that.
No, I mean, I think that's one of the interesting things about coming in here at, just barely 25 years old. And part of it is my naivete. I mean, like I thought, and I started. I mean, I have to say that I fell into this accidentally because I was going to be a producer. This is what I think, really enjoyed, and just to bring those elements together and create something that really is special. So when one of the things about a producer is that he or she would gather all these resources. But the main thing about it here is that you have to find that subject matter that really interests you and grabs you. And the idea of founding a department was that subject. How would I do it? How can I make this kind of ideal department? But the whole notion about the resources didn't come and hit me that early. So when I came in here, it started in the photo department, and as a result of that, I thought that they would have a special fund to be able to start this kind of, again, it's like a startup. Mm-hmm. So you need to have some kind of funding, and then spaces and equipment and all that kind of stuff. And to my surprise, there was not even a space. And there was like a couple of pieces of equipment, and then I said, let's see, how am I supposed to start those classes? I don't have the equipment and all this. Oh, don't worry. When you get the students, you get the equipment and the space. It's like, and then that intrigued me. I said, let's see.
The order's
and then
off.
all of a sudden, and because I was so young, it didn't dawn on me that, okay, let's see, that makes sense. And I didn't realize, actually, I guess somehow, this is not the way you do things. So I went out all around and just like I really scrounged around equipment and all this, and the fact that this is such a popular area, I had a tremendous amount of support from the students and the staff to do this. So this is how it came around. I think when you're onto something that is very much special, things flow very, very well, and that's what happened. And then the other thing also about it is that they found a space for me. This was on the 4th floor of Flint Center, and the Flint Center was just beginning to be able to be operable. And all of a sudden, you found out, that when you go into the 4th floor, it's very hard to carry equipment back and forth. And then the other thing also about it is that a lot of the rooms were not finished yet. There was still some steel rods coming from the construction and all this. And I said, you don't expect me to teach you, do you? And they said, no, don't worry about it. It's only temporary space. Mm-hmm. But it was actually for the next 20 years before we moved to the ATC.
In 1994, right?
That's right.
So one of the ways that you cultivated the gaining of equipment, and that's something that people focus on a lot because getting equipment here is oftentimes easier than getting it from other universities.
That's correct.
So you got some of your early equipment, like for example, a camera not unlike the 35 millimeter behind us, from the English department.
That's right. I mean, what I did is that because we had such a scarcity of equipment, and I wanted to have something that the students could really actually just have their hands on and do something with it. So I put this memo out about if anybody has any, again, naively, who would ask, again, the college staff and faculty, do you have some film equipment to give away? I said, but I did it anyway. And to my surprise, there were like several departments that had that equipment because of grants or whatever, and they were not using them. So I grabbed them. So I grabbed, like, for example, this is like for film, editing reels and rewinds, and then I managed to get some tables and cameras, and we got started right away. And one of the things also that I knew very, very quickly is that in order to bring attention to this department, we had to produce some very award-winning films. So I devoted a tremendous amount of time to be able to get students to really believe in themselves that they can produce something of high quality and never really, for example, somewhat compromise on that. And as a result of that, in the first couple of years, we produced things that were shown at the local festival, like the Palo Alto Film Festival in San Jose and so forth. And then in 1990, there was a very special film called Extended Play that was produced here in the department, and that basically put the Anza on the map. And what it did is that it was shown at all these like festivals at the time, and I'm told that film actually has a rare distinction of actually being in the Guinness Book of Records, because it won the most awards of any student film, period. Something like 95 different awards, okay, on that. And it was, it was quite an event, because that gave us a tremendous amount of credibility locally. Right away, we saw a lot of people getting interested on this.
Well, and it also seems to teach that the more that you work on the student, as in on yourself, right? You work as someone who's like learning in a field, the more prepared or more capable you are to present yourself outside. And technically film involves public notoriety. Eventually that's the goal, right? So one of my favorite stories that you told me when we just met was that you basically had nothing and had to invent a flatbed. And you said that you got the tools from an Army surplus store.
Well, it's not they invented the flatbed. I mean, we wanted to find a way to get that. And one of the ways to do that was, again, to be, on the forefront and get the budget for it, and we did. But one of the things I wanted to do is not use the flatbed, just for the people who don't know, is really a film editing tool. And we're used to what is called the moviola, which is an upright piece of equipment, whereas the flatbed, it's a little bit more, I would say, it's a little bit more advanced, much easier to edit with. But I looked at it as a teaching tool also. So what I did, I customized this is a moviola flatbed, to actually put in it an adapter. So, because one of the things about teaching editing is that you want to be able to show students, frame by frame, what happens when you have a continuity of shots.
Right.
How do you create meaning on this? And I couldn't do that by just using the projector. It's like very awkward. You got to go back and forth, and the film will tear. Remember, back then there was no VHS, none of that stuff that we enjoy today. So I had to invent a way to be able to make that accessible. And if you show something on the flatbed or the moviola, the screen is about this big. It's like about 8 inches wide, which is not big enough. So like if you have 20 students, what are they going to look at? So I had that adapter done, which enabled me to show, again on a frame-by-frame basis and in terms of analysis, and screen it on the wall, so that they can see, wait, I'll put this, and then, for example, one of the things that students picked up very quickly on is the last, eye expression of a character in a movie. And what happened is that defined, that doesnn't last long. Like, for example, a person, I'll keep talking to you like this, and all of a sudden you say something that really, it's like a beat. And you say, well, did you know, for example, that I'm going to be leaving you tomorrow? And then I'm saying, oh, really? And then there's that moment, and you say, oh my gosh, she's going to leave me. So there's like 4 frames of the eyes changing, and then you notice it. And then when I stop that and show, and then all of a sudden, you're reacting to the next frame, it's really magical. And that's, one of the first things about editing is the timing and the things that go along with it. That's fascinating.
So then, one of the things that distinguishes each part of the collaborative film process is, directors are applauded for their vision, and editors applauded for their timing. Producers typically for their ingenuity, like, for example, getting a table, 2 spools, and some way to project, right?
Being resourceful.
Right. Well, I definitely need to address the reality that your retirement is not precisely your leaving.
No, not at all. In fact, I'm pretty much going to be involved with the department. I'm going to be teaching the courses I'm really passionate about, something like directing. So I'll be teaching in the winter and the spring. I'll be teaching directing. But more importantly, I'm going to be involved at a level of outreach with other institutions. Like, for example, one of the big things that are changing in the California community college system is the articulations between the 4-year institutions. So part of that, and like right now, I'm establishing those kind of contacts with San Francisco State, so that students from the Anza, instead of having to repeat some of the courses, and then a lot of film schools do that, somehow they don't trust.
Precisely.
Whatever that institution. But if we develop the fact that there is, in fact, a curriculum that matches theirs and they can actually somewhat articulate, then all of a sudden now they're not wasting as much time. Instead of, like, for example, getting out of here as a junior and then spending 3 years, which normally what happens, they will literally graduate in a couple of years. So 2 years instead of 3, and they will have to repeat those, again, introductory courses, and they'll be jumping right in there in their careers, which is very important, I think. That's one of them. The other one, of course, is on a more professional level. We're seeing that the industry itself wants to be very involved in education. What that means basically is that because the technology is changing so rapidly, and using cameras like the Red or the Alexa, like we have positions now being created both in post-production and also in production that demand this constant education. So we're trying to find a way now to be able to get that kind of partnership with again, manufacturers like the Alexa or the Red, and in terms of post-production, to be able to really afford that so that students now getting out of here can literally go into those modern positions that are being created and be current. I mean, that's one of our obligations. And to me, that's going to be a very exciting area to go into.
And organizing things that resemble classes, or that's a silly way to put it, but burgeoning curriculum, basically, for things like, what's the title, digital?
Yeah, that's, I mean, for example, right now one of the positions that are changing the way in which movies are being produced is the DIT, the digital imaging technician, basically. And that's almost like a bridge position. What that means basically is that the person is involved in production, they sit there, they gather all the files, they duplicate them, safeguard them, they're archiving them, and at the same time they have to know something about color correction. So it's not just a technical position, there is a certain kind of aesthetic element in it. And then on top of that, they almost get everything ready for the post-production team, which is also another element in that, which is very, very exciting. So all these things are happening. So we want to find out what is it that, even the role of the cinematographer is changing in that way. So we're talking about, and what is called the imaging team. Which is, again, being defined. And the way the cameras are going right now and the way the post-production is going is going to have a big effect on that.
Well, it's an impressive and an exciting thing to see a retirement really be more like a transformation, because you're continuing to grow the department despite the fact that you're not here full-time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. In fact, I looked at that, and that's one of the ways that I looked at how can I make a bigger contribution given the fact that we have very limited resources. And I found that probably was the best solution, to be able to hire new faculty in the area and also be able to get involved in the transformation of the department.
Right. Well, on behalf of all of those people who couldn't be here, to thank you so much for what you've done for the school. You know that it's meant a lot to a lot of people.
Well, I tell you, it was my pleasure. I tell you, I can't believe it was that quick, but I'm not going to go away on that. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about this.
For everything over the years, thank you.
Thank you, Zaki, for all the wonderful evaluations of our film.
Zaki, this is one of your former students from the 1970s wishing you a happy retirement and telling you we're going to miss you here at De Anza.
Zaki, congratulations on your retirement. I wish you the best and enjoying the next chapter in your life. Thank you so much for considering me for teaching the lighting class here at De Anza College. I really, really enjoyed it. Thank you.
I have learned a lot of things, a lot of practical knowledge, skills, idea from you. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Hi Zaki, I just want to thank you and wish you only the best.
Thank you, Lisha.
If it weren't for you, all of this wouldn't be possible, and I'm lucky enough to be part of it and enjoying whatever came into fruition due to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Zaki. Yeah, you've been very influential over the years, and have a good one.
Hi, Zaki. I just wanted to thank you. Everything that I know and applying each one of my projects, I learned from you in your FTV 20 and FTV 51 class.
I came to De Anza all the way from Santa Barbara because you were teaching here, and I really appreciate the knowledge that you shared with with the rest of us, and just have a happy retirement.
Thanks, Mr. Lisha.
You're an excellent teacher.
Thank you, Zaki.
Put that 16mm film onto YouTube.
In Japan, I was thinking about going to the USA, and I just checking Google film and space and school and school space and America, and there's top run on the top run there's the Anza College. That's why I applied. Anyway, I'm sorry for always late for the school. I like you, Zaki. Bye. Thank you.
Hey Zaki, thank you so much for all your contribution here at the Anza. You have a wonderful retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Zaki, for having my back.
Thank you for everything, Lisha.
Oh, thank you.
I just want to say thank you, Zach.
Hi, Professor. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Lisha. Thanks for the ideas you gave me.
Just want to say thanks.
I wanted to say thank you so much for everything you gave us and gave me. I took a class from you 25 years ago, and it started a fire in me.
You may not remember me, but I guarantee you, all of your students will always remember you. Thank you very much for everything you taught us.
We're going to miss you. I'll come back and visit. I hope that you have a good retirement and that you like this video that these guys are making.
Thanks, Zaki, for this wonderful opportunity to instruct and be with these incredible students in this wonderful facility. I'll never forget this and probably never be able to repay you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.